is this, as opposed to the other side. So for this one, there are only certain ones in which I'd ask you to infer what's on the other side from the particular side. But for most of them, I would have to show both sides to ask the question. So this is one of the ones where you just have to know that that's the posterior side because of the evidence you see here.
Right.
But on this one, I would have to show both sides. So take a look at this side, first of all. And then I'm going to flip it. And take a look at this side.
It's a nice slice.
You got that, brother?
It's a beautiful
Now,
butterfly.
you guys don't want to all end up with 50s and 60s on the midterm, do you?
No.
So you have to be able to recognize things on this, and if you're not looking at, how are you going to do that?
True that.
So now, then, I'm going to flip it.
Flip it.
Go with your bad self.
Ooh, nice move.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
You didn't even need a
now,
spatula.
which side is this, and which side is the other side?
This side is posterior.
That's anterior.
Yeah, this
That's
side
anterior.
is more anterior. So how do you know that?
Because the posterior
Ventricles
part
is the way they go. They're thinner on one side.
Yeah, so
on the other.
I'm going to comment on that one in more detail, but before I even go to that, I'm going to have to take the lid off to expand on that comment. But before I do that, just look over here. Look over here. And then look in the same relative position on the other side. So what do you see there?
The Taman's coming in.
Well, what
Wait,
is
no.
Yeah, the head of the caudate nucleus, you see.
That's right.
So on the other
Taman's
side,
next.
we are anterior to that. You don't see any basal nuclei over there. We're anterior to that. You just see centrum semio-valley.
So, okay, so the anterior side does not have, flip,
Yeah,
the head of the caudate nucleus.
that's
Okay.
right. Now, what is that little area of gray right over there?
Is that my putamen starting?
That's the putamen.
Yes,
The,
I love
so the
it.
section is right there.
He's the only one I know.
The blade,
I see.
the slice is slightly oblique.
You only see it on the posterior side.
Yeah, so on this side, it did touch the putamen, right over there. So now there's some white matter in between the head of the caudate and the putamen. What's that white matter? It's the beginning of it. It's more easy. It's more obvious further back. But what is that white matter in between these two?
Anterior line,
Of what?
internal capsule.
Correct. That's correct. The white matter in between that little bit of the putamen and the head of the caudate is the anterior limb of the internal capsule. We're way anterior in it, so you can only see a little bit of it. Further back, it's more obvious, but it begins there. Okay, so now you may be able to just faintly see some crossbars over there.
Not really.
little wrinkles.
No, my eyes.
I just see the lines from the knife.
Now, at some angles, you'll see a reflection, a surface reflection. So you have to move your head so that you don't see a surface reflection. And they're very faint on this. So I probably wouldn't ask them here. I would ask them further posteriorly where they're more obvious. But if you see any crossbars over there, what are those? Connecting that with that.
Yeah, say it.
Yeah,
Cellular bridges.
And then what are those plus these two taken together?
The colostrum? History test.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
corpus
Corpus striatum.
That's it.
Yeah. That's the strict international terminology, corpus striatum. You can also translate it into English and say striate body as well.
Oh, I can say that?
Yeah, but you might as well say corpus striatum. It's niftier.
Well, I think the white,
If I remember.
the cellular bridges are.
Okay.
You can handle it.
Now, what is this?
I'm not gonna go there again.
Is it the forceps minor, or is that just on horizontal?
That's
Yeah.
the body.
Is that the body of the corpus
Correct.
callosum?
Yeah. So this, because this is a coronal, the forceps minor actually
Horizontal.
is a horizontal horseshoe. So you can't see that horizontal horseshoe of the forceps minor unless you're looking at a horizontal section.
So on the quiz, did we have 2 minor answers or 2 major answers? Or one of each?
I have to look again.
Yeah, don't ask right now.
No.
Why not?
Let's do it on
Let's do
Thursday.
this.
Because I have so many possible quiz questions in my head I don't remember which one I asked him for that pair. So I'll have to look at the actual quiz to see which ones I made
Because I
use
got
of.
confused, so then I just left major for both, and
Yeah,
now I
no,
think
no,
both of them were minor.
there was a repeat in one
Yeah, there were
place.
repeats.
Yeah, because if something looked somewhat different in coronal and horizontal, in a few cases, in a couple of cases, I asked them twice.
Yeah. Something different.
Now, I may do that in the midterm also. I might
Trick
ask
us up, come on.
in the horizontals, then ask the same thing in the coronals, if they look different. Okay, so now what's this? The white over there.
The rostrum.
Yeah, that's the
The
rostrum.
rostrum.
Okay.
See, I got these all backwards.
Upside down?
Yeah, probably. Shocking.
Now,
Dyslexia kicks in again.
That's all right.
okay, before I flip it, I'll go back again. What do we have here?
Lateral ventricle.
Yeah, which part? Anterior horns. The body is what you see once you see thalamus in the floor. There's no thalamus here, it's further posterior. So if there's no thalamus, it's anterior horns. I have ones which show the thalamus, so we'll get to that.
You knew that was going to happen.
Okay, so here you see this. This is a different view. You see that the body of the corpus callosum is making the roof of this part of the lateral ventricle. You see that?
By the color, I'd say he drank too much
Okay.
Drax.
Now, what do we have here?
Septum pellucidum.
Septum pellucidum.
Yeah.
And that is a nice
Yeah.
viewing of it, I
Yeah.
must say.
Yeah, in a manner of speaking, because, you know,
It is.
there are actually two of them. So septum pellucidum is really a singular. So you could say septa pellucida, although almost no one makes it a plural in that way. But many people who say septum pellucidum get themselves confused by saying that, including people who should know better. Because if you use a singular, it suggests that it's one thing, where it's actually two pressed together like this with a potential space in between. What's the potential space called? Say again? Yeah, the cavum. Yeah, the cavum.
She regurgitates things, man. It makes me so...
As in cave.
Trust me.
I hope no one's
Studied
good.
my-
Okay, so now look at this.
The smell is getting to me.
Don't say anything right away. Look at those two vertical things and look at what's in between them, but just think and don't say anything right away. Look at these two vertical things and look at that in between.
Oh, okay.
Look at the two vertical things and what's that, and then there's something in between. Okay, so now what is that?
Cavum.
Yeah, you can see the left and the right septa pellucida,
That on the
and you can see the cavum in between. And in the normal situation, the cavum is a potential space. The two septa pellucida are pressed against one another. But trauma can open it up. Now, what was the trauma in this case?
You're nice.
Yeah, that's right. A brain knife passed through the brain. That's severe trauma. And it picked it opened up the cavum. But you can also have a vascular blowout and have a hematoma, in the cavum. You can also just have CSF if there's a communication with the cavities, the lumina of the ventricles getting in there, and it can get inflated with cerebrospinal fluid. That's all pathological if that happens. Okay, so now look at this over here. What is that? Yes, the rostrum. Now compare that with this. Do you really see this rostrum?
Yeah.
Over here? Look at it over here. And then compare that with this.
Thicker on this side.
Yeah. So what does that say about this side?
That's the posterior.
Yeah, it's
side.
posterior because you see less rostrum because the rostrum is a conoid which tapers as it goes posteriorly. So as you go from anterior toward posterior in a coronal series, the volume of tissue in the rostrum decreases until it finally just disappears. Okay. What does rostrum mean? Beak or projecting beak or like a nose. So what was the speaker's platform in the Roman the Forum Romanum called, which persisted until the fall of Rome in 454 AD?
Rostra.
The rostra. Yeah. And why was that? I actually mentioned this once.
Came on to the point.
Yeah, they defeated an enemy in a naval battle. They captured 3 of the ships. They took the prows off 3 of them, combined them into one thing, so you had the rostra, made of the prows of 3 enemy ships. And they had a set of steps which went up to the deck surface, and speakers would go up there to make a speech to people who were standing around the forum. So it was called the rostra. Unfortunately, it doesn't survive anymore. It would be interesting to see it.
All the good stuff.
Okay, so let's see. I think that covers this one also.
Bless you.
Now, let's go further. I want to
Oh, no.
check the other side
Why would
first
you do that?
on this one. I'm just going to leave the fluid in and flip.
Exactly.
Okay.